Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and continue feeling it until that which you feel becomes your reality. Neville Goddard. The cycle I'm about to reveal is the very rhythm of creation itself. And when you repeat it with understanding and persistence, it causes your current reality to collapse and rebuild itself in harmony with your desires. This is not magic. It's law. Let me ask you something. What is it that you truly desire? Is it wealth? Is it love? Is it perfect health? Whatever it may be, I tell you with absolute certainty, it already exists in what Neville Goddard called the fourth-dimensional world. You're not here to create it from nothing, you're here to appropriate it using a specific cycle of consciousness. This cycle is made of 4 sacred stages, and when you repeat them, especially with the inner persistence of 100 repetitions, your desire inevitably externalizes in the three-dimensional world. Let's go deeper into each of the 4 stages. The first stage is clarity. You must define, with crystal-clear precision, what you truly want to experience. Vague desires create vague results. When I say clarity, I mean this: you must know exactly what you want, in every detail. If it's wealth, how much? For what purpose? In what kind of life? If it's love, what kind of relationship? With what type of person? How do you feel in it? You must be brave enough to admit what you really want. The subconscious doesn't respond to hesitation, it responds to vision. The second stage is assumption. Once your desire is defined, it's time to feel it. Not imagine it as a possibility. Not hope it might happen someday. But feel it now, as if it were already real. Live internally the scene that confirms it is done. How do you walk now that it's yours? How do you breathe? What emotions arise when you realize your desire is fulfilled? You're not allowed to just think about it. You must dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled. Again and again. Neville taught us, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and continue feeling it until it hardens into fact. That's exactly what this cycle does. It reprograms your inner world until the outer world has no choice but to obey. Now comes the third stage, persistence. This is where most people give up, but not you. Persistence means returning to the state again and again, even when nothing around you has changed. Especially when nothing has changed. Persistence is the invisible force that bends reality over time. Think of it as training a muscle. The more you repeat the feeling, the stronger your identity becomes. Every repetition rewires your self-image. Every return to the state deepens the groove of that new version of you. Until one day, you no longer need to try. You've become it. And that brings us to the final stage, release. Release doesn't mean forgetting. It means letting go of the desperate need to force it into being. You've assumed it. You've persisted. Now you rest in the knowing. You trust the seed has been planted, and the soil of your consciousness will bring it to life. Release means you stop checking for evidence. You stop begging the universe to hurry up. You stop doubting just because your senses don't confirm it, yet. You let go because you know. Repeat this cycle 100 times. Not all at once. Not obsessively. But with presence. With emotion. With intention. Each repetition is a whisper to your subconscious. This is who I am now. This is my new identity. This is my truth. You are not begging the universe. You are becoming the version of you that already lives in that reality. And reality has no choice but to reflect it. You can do this in the morning, before opening your eyes. Or at night, before drifting into sleep. You can repeat the feeling on your lunch break. While brushing your teeth. While walking in silence. It's not about forcing a schedule, it's about frequency, consistency, commitment. The subconscious mind doesn't respond to logic. It responds to repetition, emotion, imagination. And when the new feeling is repeated enough times, it becomes your default state. And from that state, the miraculous begins to unfold. You'll start noticing subtle shifts, synchronicities, Coincidences that don't feel like coincidences. People responding to you differently. Doors opening. Delays disappearing. It will feel like magic, but it isn't. It's law. This is how the world is remade from the inside out. Now, let's go deeper into the power of repetition. Neville said that a state felt deeply and repeatedly is what compels creation to happen. The key word here is felt. Not imagined. Not spoken out loud like a robot. Felt. As if it were already so. So don't just affirm, I am wealthy. Feel what wealth feels like. Don't just say, I am in love. Feel the warmth of love in your chest. Smile as if they were beside you. Emotion is the glue. Emotion is the activator. This is why most people fail. They repeat empty words without emotion. They say things they don't believe and feel nothing. But you won't make that mistake. You'll go deeper. You'll close your eyes and live it from the inside out. And now, the greatest secret of this entire cycle. You don't need evidence. You don't need proof. You don't need validation. Your feeling is the proof. Your inner world is the reality. And when you hold it, consistently, the outer world is forced to conform. This is not motivation. This is structure. This is how the universe works. Now let's talk about the disciplines. The invisible practices that support this cycle. The mindset that protects your new identity. First, assume in silence. Don't announce your desires to everyone. Don't seek permission. Don't try to convince others. Most people live in fear, not faith. And when you share your vision with the wrong audience, you expose it to doubt. Protect your seed. Water it in secret. Let it grow roots before the world sees it bloom. Second, rehearse alone. This is your power space. Enter the scene of your desire in your imagination. Make it vivid, real, alive. Smell the air. Hear the sounds. Feel the textures. Do it until your nervous system can't tell the difference between the imagined and the physical. Third, master your inner voice. Your inner dialogue is always shaping you. If you say, I can't, you won't. If you say, it's too hard, it will be. But when your inner voice declares, this is mine, this is done, I am already it, then your entire being begins to cooperate with that truth. Fourth, emotional independence. Don't wait for results to feel good. Don't let circumstances dictate your mood. Feel the state first, then act. Feel the reality first, then move. You are the cause, not the effect. Stop checking the mirror. Start adjusting the face. Fifth, intentional ignorance. Ignore what contradicts your vision. Ignore the delay. Ignore the noise. Ignore the fear. Not out of denial, but out of power. You are not here to react. You are here to create. And your creation depends on focus. Whatever you feed with attention, grows. So starve your doubts. And feed your vision. Now imagine this. What will it feel like after repetition 30, when it gets easier to believe? What about repetition 60, when your reactions begin to change? And repetition 85? When signs and synchronicities appear. And repetition 100? When it becomes so natural, you forget you were trying. When you wake up one day and realize, you are no longer hoping. You are no longer practicing. You are simply living it. And reality, it is now mirroring your vibration, perfectly. Let me remind you, reality doesn't respond to struggle. It responds to identity. And identity is formed through repetition. Not of empty affirmations, but of conscious assumption, of emotional alignment, of imagined experience made real in the body. Neville said, to be transformed, the whole basis of your thoughts must change. So don't just change your words, change your state. Don't just change your goals, change your self-concept. because who you are being determines what you are seeing. And when the being changes, the seeing must change too. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. If you are being lack, you see lack. If you are being abundance, you see abundance. If you are being love, you experience love. The world outside is nothing but a mirror, a perfect reflection of your dominant state. So use this cycle not to beg for change, but to embody it. Not to plead for outcomes, but to become the outcome. And the repetitions? They're not for the universe. They're for you. Every repetition rewires your brain. Every assumption imprints a new pattern. Every return to the feeling teaches your nervous system. This is safe. This is real. This is me now. And soon, it is. And when it is, the external world adjusts accordingly. Because it must. This is the law of assumption. This is how creation happens. Not by chance. Not by force. But by inner alignment, practiced daily, repeated faithfully, felt deeply. So take a breath. Step back from desperation. Step into knowing. And begin again. 1 repetition. Then 2. Then 10. Then 50. Then 100. Each one closer to becoming. Each one rewriting the script. Each one dissolving the old identity and constructing the new. This is not just a technique. It's a return to your original power. It's a remembrance of who you truly are. You are not a victim of chance. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are not waiting for the universe to bless you. You are the blessing. You are the center of your own creation. You are the consciousness that commands reality. Neville said, "Change your conception of yourself and you will automatically change the world in which you live." So let's do that. Let's change the conception, through repetition. Let's redefine the self, through emotion. Let's shift the identity, through persistent assumption. And here's the miracle. You don't need to feel it perfectly. You just need to return to it. Over and over. Even when it feels fake. Even when doubt whispers. Even when nothing seems to change. Because something is changing, within. And the within creates the without. You're building an energetic structure. You're sculpting a new state. And the more you visit that state, the more real it becomes. Until one day, it's the only version of you that exists. No resistance. No hesitation. Just truth. You don't need to be ready. You need to be willing. Willing to show up. Willing to repeat. Willing to assume. That's enough. And as you do this, something sacred happens. Old patterns fall away. Old beliefs crumble. Old limitations dissolve. And what's left? A self that is free. A mind that is clear. A reality that finally matches your soul. You might ask, but what if I don't see results? What if it's been weeks and nothing's happening? Let me tell you, that is exactly when most people stop. And that's exactly when you must continue. Because right there, in the silence, in the void, in the moment when nothing seems to move, that's when the shift is closest. The soil doesn't show you the roots growing, but they are. And your subconscious doesn't show you the transformation until it becomes undeniable. So don't fall for the illusion of delay. Don't mistake silence for failure. Creation is happening beneath the surface. And your job is to stay loyal to the unseen. Repeat. Persist. Feel. And trust. You are not chasing a desire. You are collapsing timelines. You are not waiting for the world. You are inviting it to catch up with who you already are. So don't measure results by time. Measure them by identity. Ask yourself, am I being the version of me that lives this reality? Am I assuming, or am I hesitating? Am I stepping into the state, or just talking about it? Because when you become the version, Reality has no choice. It must bend. It must conform. It must mirror. That's not a belief. That's law. And it's waiting on you. So what now? Now you choose. You choose to commit, not to the outcome but to the identity. You choose to become familiar with the state of your wish fulfilled. You choose to stop reacting to what you see, and respond instead to what you've decided. Let others call it delusion. Let the world question your silence. Let your past scream for attention. You remain still. Because repetition isn't just a practice, it's a declaration, a vow to your future, a statement of your authority, a whisper into the quantum. This is who I am now. No begging, no forcing, no bargaining, only embodiment. You've done enough begging. You've done enough hoping. You've lived in almost long enough. Now it's time for full possession. This is the cycle that does it. 100 repetitions. 100 returns to the state. 100 acts of creative faith. Not to convince the universe, but to remind you who you really are. You were never without power. You were only misusing it. Feeding fear. Rehearsing lack. Practicing defeat. Now, you practice truth. You rehearse joy. You install peace. You amplify love. You repeat abundance. Until you forget you ever lived another way. This is why it's working. Not because you're perfect. Not because you never doubt. But because you return. Because you repeat. Because you assume again and again, until it becomes your only truth. You don't need to see the full staircase. You only need to take the next conscious step. And that step is always the same. Enter the state. Before the call. Before the job. Before the date. Before the mirror. Before the challenge. Enter the state. Repeat the feeling. Wear the identity. And walk into the world not as someone seeking, but as someone being. Let your inner world become the architect. Let your feeling become the blueprint. Let your assumption become the law, because it is. This is not just manifestation. This is transformation. This is resurrection. The old self dissolves. The new self rises. And what was once only imagined becomes your daily life. Not because you forced it, but because you repeated it into being. Again, and again, and again. So now, the final invitation. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for proof. Don't wait for the world to catch up. Start the repetitions. Today. Now. Not with pressure. With presence. Not with fear. With faith. Repeat the feeling. Not for the outcome, but for the becoming. Repeat the assumption, not to make it happen, but to realize it already has. Because when you live in the state of the wish fulfilled, you collapse time. You collapse doubt. You collapse separation. And what remains? You. Pure. Powerful. Present. Unstoppable. So write it down. Feel it again. Speak it softly. Return to it daily. 100 times if you must. Because somewhere between repetition 1 and 100, the old you vanishes, and the new you takes root. And when that happens, nothing remains the same. Because you are no longer the same. And reality is simply following your lead.